Hello everyone, I'm Danielle from Cageless Readings. So welcome to the channel, welcome back if you've been here before. Today's pick a card, I was a little bit inspired by a lot of exhausted parents out there who love their kids but sometimes go through phases where they can be really frustrated with them. So I just figured I probably should do a pick a card reading about that. So sort of the breakdown we're going to be looking at is your energy and how you're feeling. That's what the archetype cards are going to be for, so you can check in and see right away at the start of the card reading if this is you, if this is your pile. And then we're going to look at what's going on deeper, and we're also going to look at guidance and suggestions from the angels on what to do in the situation, because I don't like to really leave people hanging, you know. I don't really want to be like, oh, here's what you're struggling with, good luck. Yeah, so that's just my intention. And then if it does come up, we're going to kind of look at maybe what's being brought up within you, what's being triggered in you. That might come up into some of the piles, and that's pretty much it. So if you want, you can ground yourself either by listening to the sound clip I'm going to play right after this in a second, or you can ground through taking a few deep breaths, or you can ground by visualizing roots going down into the center of the earth, just because you really want to be connected with your higher self, your intuition, your own guidance. You really want to be in body for this kind of stuff, because otherwise you'll find yourself hearing information and it kind of going out one ear and not really staying in your head. So there's quite a few benefits to getting grounded before hearing something, listening to something, especially something that brings up deep emotion. Okay, so I'll let you decide how you want to do that. Hello everyone. I am recording this so that before you choose a pile, you can get a quick chakra attunement and alignment. It is going just to be about 1 or 2 minutes long, really just quick, just to get you more balanced. I wanted to offer this because I know sometimes people have a hard time grounding themselves or feeling connected to their intuition, and that's usually why they're seeking out a card reading. So this was my solution. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so now that everyone is grounded, let's look at the piles here. So pile 1 is going to be chosen by this. Sorry, I didn't want to show the cards underneath. Apparently some of them got flipped around. We'll go like that. Okay, so pile 1 is going to be the bridge. Pile 2 is going to be the riddle. Pile 3, we have the judge. All right, so I'll give you a few seconds here and then I'll see you all in your card readings. Hello, pile 1. So you chose the bridge. There's actually quite a few cards here. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just look at them in card section. So the bridge, we have the desert. This is interesting because this just came out in the last card reading I did. Yeah, very interesting. Maybe you chose this card in my last pile. And then the vessel. Sorry, I didn't say the father, the vessel, desert, and the bridge. Really interesting. This has very similar energy to the energy I described in the pick a card reading I did do this last one in. That is really interesting. It's come through again. The bridge, I actually see this. It's so interesting. I kind of want to go like this. The bridge, I almost see this as like quite literally your role in your child's life is like you're the bridge between two different lifestyles, two different worlds, which is really interesting. And even here, this father card is like split, like two different worlds. So I don't quite know. Maybe you grew up believing in one thing and like maybe say if you grew up in the church and you raised your kids in the church and then you left halfway or something like that. There's something about you being a bridge between two different ways of being. And I feel like it's like you know that other way of being. I'm not sure if your child knows about that other way or not, though. Feels like it. Feels like there's something going on. And for some, I wonder if you adopted a kid and you're almost like trying to show them a healthier life, a healthier lifestyle. And also same thing here. I feel like it is general card reading. So there can be a lot of different energies. The other thing I'm getting really caught on too is I wonder if, oh, I just totally lost my train of thought. My cat is digging in my flower pot. So sorry, it caught my attention. Sorry, the other thing I was thinking about for this is I wonder if you were in a maybe abusive relationship or partnership, or there was some unhealthy addiction or something in one of the caretakers of your child. So maybe you had a wife or a husband, and it doesn't have to be genetically this other person, your child's like other parent. It could be like a boyfriend or a girlfriend that you had that might have been addicted to drugs or alcohol or something. It is interesting. They're showing me like there's like this energy with this card about a wounding, and almost there's definitely like I see like the child's hand and then your hand here, and like it's almost like there needs to be healing on how they were raised when they were younger or a different phase in their life. But I can't quite see if it's due to adoption, like they had an unhealthy parent when they were young in their initial families, if there was an unhealthy abusive partner that maybe you had when they were younger or something like that. There's definitely something going on here where I do feel like this is you really trying to help them through that, help them rise up through that challenge. But I do think there's something here about your parenting being so different. When I see the father card here, like it's so funny. I feel like if you look at the image, one's like a tree in one direction. Then over here we have like wheat growing in a whole different direction. So it's like whatever is going on, it's like you've totally changed course on how you're parenting them. So like I said, there's definitely a few different energies here, whether it was just being part of a religious group or leaving addiction. It's so funny. Both energies are equally strong. So sorry if I kind of jump back and forth, but usually if they come together in a card reading, it's because all the other messages are going to be the same, but the origin of the wounding is different. Some it's more like the society and the pressures and the shame that was put on them. And in another one, it is, I don't want to say neglect, but it was like abuse, lack of feeling safe in their house when they were younger. That would be like, and it's coming through because I think it's something you're struggling with. Like I see like there's a lot of pressure on you as a parent to sort of make things better, to help them be better. That is not easy. That's not easy. And the vessel card and this card is telling me that you could use some help and that it is a lot. This is, I think, where a lot of this like them being like adopted or coming from an abusive home or having an abusive parent, like whether it's just one parent, I just see that this child has gone through a lot of trauma, and I think you need help. Like you need a support system to help you. You can't be everything for this child of yours. And I'm gonna see if I can like maybe see what the child is struggling with. Maybe that'll come up in the other cards I pulled, but I'm just seeing like that it's very exhausting for you and you could use some help, and you just don't really know what else to do at this point. But I do see that you're really trying to take responsibility and you're really trying to bring this healing. Other thing I do have to say is I don't think it was like you. Like I don't think it was like something you did that hurt them, because I don't know. I get it was like someone else in their life when they were younger. And you're now trying to like help or correct that or heal that. And you're trying to be like that safe support system that they needed. And the other interesting thing is I wonder if some of you kind of feel like you're a single parent. Maybe some of you aren't, but you have like a partner now that travels a lot or works away from home, maybe even works in a different country or something. Because when I see the father card, I actually see that you're trying to fill both roles of being the father and the mother. And even this vessel card is kind of telling me that. Like when I see the vessel, I see this as like trying to be the disciplinarian strict father, and then also the nurturing mother, and then like it being hard to be both at the same time, and being heard on the both at the same time. And so interesting, I also get something about trying to be vulnerable, but I also see that you had some wounding in your past too, which is another thing it's talking about. Like this has not been easy for you. Being a parent has not been easy for you. I think you've been like, it's brought up a lot of your inner child wounding, a lot of your triggers, and once again, maybe I should just look at these cards quick. So I'm just making sure that I'm like picking up the energy right. But I am getting a sense that whatever age your child is that was the hardest for you will be the hardest age for you to parent your child. So some of you might be going through that right now. Say if you had the hardest time in school at a certain age, or with bullying at a certain age, or with your own family at a certain age, just be aware that that will actually be the hardest time for you to be a parent to your child at that age, because all your triggers are going to come up and you'll be tempted to mirror the parenting style that you had, not because you want to, but just because that is what was that was just what you were taught about how to parent in this situation, or when you saw this is what happened. But something tells me you're way more self-aware and conscious of the effects of your behavior. And I think this is even why you're struggling a little bit. I feel just like overwhelmed, like you're battling with your own stuff. There is quite a bit going on with your child that you could just use some like act like somebody else helping you out, because like I said, it seems here like your energy seems like often you feel like an only parent, and you really could just use someone's help to get you out of the sand. Like it's pretty hard to get yourself out of sand. It just keeps moving around you, and sometimes you go deeper into it even though you think you're getting above it. It's just, I don't know, I keep thinking of quicksand actually. And maybe that's even how you felt, like you were doing good, then all of a sudden you just like felt like you lost control and you got overwhelmed really fast or something like that. So hang on, let me just put some of these, I shouldn't say put some of these other cards out, because I feel like they're going to give me a little more clarity about what is going on exactly. So it says set limits with draining people. When people are depleting you, kindly set a limit, such as I only have 10 minutes to listen now. Such self-care is respectful and empowering. Interesting, you got two hands. What hand is that? That's the receiving hand. Okay, and that one is also the receiving hand. That is interesting. Release your critical voices within. Practice patience. Breathe. Energize yourself with earthing. Find your purpose and listen to the wisdom of your intuition. Okay, we got a little cards going on. Okay. And maybe we can get it up a little bit more. Okay, lots of blue, some green going on, and just, this is definitely talking about the same theme. These are talking about this. And so is this. Okay. You know what, the other thing I keep thinking too, so the dominant energy up here, like the father card feels very, very strong compared to the vessel card. And I wonder if it's almost like, whether you're a male or female watching this, I wonder if it just means you feel like you're always put more in your masculine energy. So it feels like you have to be more of a authority figure and a bit of a stern person. I don't know if disciplinary is the right word, but I feel like there's like a struggle to maintain control of the situation. And this is where I feel this feels so true for the person who's struggling with someone who might have been adopted, because they can feel their energy of this child is like, it's almost like they're wired a bit backwards, like, and I mean this in the kindest way, like just in the sense of like they almost look for trouble, or discipline, or to push people away. I have heard of this being a thing of kids who were put different foster care home to foster care home. It's almost like after a while, they just become sorry, I'm saying a lot in my videos these days. It's almost like I can't handle the silence or something. So I need to get my thoughts straight. Okay, so it's a defensive mechanism or defensive tactic. And I'm sure you've heard of this before, where it's almost like if they've been hurt or wounded, they will push the person away. And it doesn't mean they don't love that person, but they think it's better to be in control. And that's what it is. It's like they think they're in control and they're choosing when they're going to get pushed away or disciplined. But instead it is just like a really wounded child acting out. And I really, really feel this pile is struggling with that kind of wounded child energy in the child in your life that you're watching this reading about. And I feel like the struggle for you is, like I said, whether you're a male or a female watching this, I actually think you really want to be that loving, gentle caretaker, that nurturing. Like, I think you wanted to nurture them and you wanted to love them, and it's been really frustrating for you. And I think this is where it's saying you could just use some help. You could use some outside help because you're feeling like you're being pushed into this role of very authoritative and very strict and disciplinary, and it's not quite working. And I can just feel like the what do I do? I don't know what to do. I want to do the right thing, but I have no idea what that looks like. And if that doesn't feel like what you're struggling with, then this might not be the pile for you, because this is a pretty strong energy, and I think all these cards are going to talk around that theme. And actually, looking at that, I actually think that they're giving you some advice right here. So breathe. This one stands out right away for being stuck in this stern position. It's saying breathe. And I feel like you might have already heard this kind of advice, and usually will just come forward as a confirmation to continue doing what you were doing, or just like to validate you that this is the right steps. You are doing the best you can. This is good. So don't feel like if I'm telling you something you already know that you're not doing it. It's a lot of times in a card reading, it will be just like a sense of validation. So the breathe card, it says breath is sacred. To replenish yourself, slowly inhale wellness and clarity to a count of 6. Then exhale stress to a count of 6. So this is talking about box breathing and saying when you feel triggered, when you feel pushed to the end, and I hate to say it, this is what I'm seeing this child is doing as a defense mechanism. And it's so self-sabotaging, but it really shows a truly injured person. A truly injured person does this. It does not serve them, doesn't serve you. And that's why it only happens in really hurt people, because they just don't know anything else, and they're just so desperate for control. So when they're pushing up against you so hard and trying to get a reaction out of you, it is very intentional. It's saying breathe so that you can become grounded and calm in your body again and think clearly and not have to jeopardize who you are. And don't get me wrong, this person is pushing really hard to get you out of this natural conscious state. I know that sucks. That so sucks. But breathing is going to really help you feel in control of that again. And then on that same note, so it's talking about getting grounded, and staying grounded is really going to help you stay clear in who you are and strong in who you are. And yes, people can get their buttons pushed, but they keep saying, like, actually this thing here where it says, like, I actually love this card for advice, because I almost feel like they're saying stop, like literally putting a hand out and saying stop, no, this isn't okay. I have lost I almost wonder if like clear direct communication is something they've never had. It might shock them a little bit, but I think it will make the most sense to them. So it's almost like, it's so funny, I actually think you should put your hand and be like, no, that seems important, no, stop, I need to go take 10 minutes to go calm down before I can talk to you, because I want to hear what you have to say. I want to respect what you have to say, but right now I'm feeling too angry to hear you properly. So I'm going to be right back. Everything's going to be okay. I'm just need a moment. And I think that's a big thing. There needs like to be a validation for this child that you are going to come back. They haven't lost their security or their safety. And that you also just need to communicate that you're not going to act from a place that you're proud to be from. And this is going to sound strange, but I think something like this over time, again and again, and consistency, because this is what this kid's going off of right now. Consistently, they've seen people fail them. They are kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop, or for someone to throw them away, essentially. Whatever wounding that did happen to this child. And you're basically trying to become that security, routine, safe person. So it is a time thing, unfortunately, but I think you're up to the task. You are really tired right now. You could really use a support system, but I do see like them saying taking breaks and saying no, but communicating that you are just upset right now, and that you will not communicate with them in a way that you are proud to, or is like something around those lines, like really just saying like, I'm just not proud of the person I'm being right now because I'm angry and I care about you and I want to come back and talk to you once I'm thinking more clearly. And I even think maybe hopefully over time they will pick up things like that. I'm just so sorry. This seems like a lot. You didn't choose an easy life, hey? You didn't choose an easy path. But the other thing here is talking about energizing yourself through earthing. This is actually making me think a lot about grounding mats, but also it's funny. I feel like if you have a lot of arguments inside the house, I feel like they're just saying like, go outside, if it's your backyard, maybe it's out your front door, and just breathe. Put your bare feet on the dirt, on the ground, on a rock out there. Close your eyes and just breathe and connect into your body. And this is where it's talking about find your purpose. It's telling me like just root into your truest truth. Like, why did you choose to do this? Really connect with that. Really connect with who you want to be in this world and the light you want to bring into it. I know that can sound really corny, but it almost seems like in those moments you're in your ego's like, why did you choose this? Why are you like going through this? And I feel like this is really going to be like, I chose this because, and whatever your answer is, because I can't give you that answer, you know it. So it says, when you feel like you don't fit into this world, remember that you're here to help create a better one. Your tender heart is a treasure. This person looks very disciplined, very focused and disciplined, appropriate for the card. And then listen to your intuition. Your inner voice is the best friend you have. Seek answers from deep within rather than just through your intellect. This is telling me, I don't know, there's something going on. Like, I feel like you do know what to do. That's what I keep getting from this card. You do know what to do when you can feel grounded enough, calm enough, clear enough. You can make good choices. So I wonder if that's even like a big thing. Maybe you just need to be reminded to set limits on, I don't want to say how much time they have with you, but like if they're pushing your buttons, say, okay, look, I just need a moment, and then grounding yourself, because it's telling me here that you actually have, like, when you're clear, you know exactly how to be. Whether you realize that or not, you communicate really clearly, and that's such a big thing for this child. Clear communication doesn't allow them to just play out worst case fears in their head, like say they maybe previously did, or make up stories about what's actually going on, because you've given them a clear communication about what's going on, what's going to happen, that they're safe, but blank. Like, I think you're just really, really good at that. Really, really good. So anyways, here it says, release your critical voice within. When a critical inner voice says, I'm not enough or I'm too sensitive, immediately counter it with, that is not true. Focus on living thoughts instead. So this is really saying, if you're beating yourself up, which I kind of got in this bridge card, where you feel like you're not doing a good enough job, where you're not cut out for this, like, I do get that you can be really hard on yourself, but I see that you're just really in a hard situation. Like, you don't have the easiest child that you're bringing up, and there's nothing against them. I just mean their wounding has been really deep, that you haven't chosen, the easiest path to take on this child and basically be a good parent. Like, counteract or counterdo or undo, that's the word I'm looking for, undo the harm and the pain that this child has gone through. And that's really incredible and really amazing that you are doing that. So this is just saying here, like, if things aren't changing as fast as you want, or if you get upset and you turn into this disciplinary that you're not proud of, do not beat yourself up for it. You're just a human. And that's even what the Father card speaks of. It's like someone who tries to do their very best to be perfect, but have to realize at the end of the day, they're just a human, just like everyone else. It's like being a leader. The best leaders are humble and admit they have faults, and not beating themselves up for it, because that doesn't help anyone out. So it's really saying, if you find yourself starting to be mean or harsh on yourself or too hard on yourself, take back that thought. If you go, I suck at this, or I can't do this, or this is too much, it's saying literally go back and say, no, that's not true. I am great at this. I'm just tired right now and I need to go take a break. I need to go get some air. I need to go take a few minutes to myself. If you see what I'm saying, like just, yeah, correcting the thought and practice patience. I actually think this is more for yourself than the child. Like, yes, the child does probably need patience, but I feel like you're harder on yourself in those moments. So it says press the pause button, take a day off from being frustrated with yourself or others, patience reapps, reapps great rewards. I think that's a typo. Reapps great rewards. Anyways, it is interesting we're talking about a reading where I'm like, are you frustrated with your kids? And the word frustrated come up like twice in the cards alone. So that is really interesting. Might really be something you're feeling right now, I would say. But anyways, a lot here, you have two cards really saying it's important to make sure you're taking time for yourself, because that will also help you not feel resentful or like frustrated with with this child, because they're not, how would I put it, it's like, oh, I'm trying to find a way to say this without it sounding bad, but it's like, if anything, if any one person takes up all of our time, it is natural for us to get frustrated with them, whether it's a partner, a child, a client, a patient, a parent. Like, we can't be everything to one person without it burning us out or causing resentment, because we're meant to be expansive and experience different things and be around different people and have different interactions and types of relationships. So I really feel like if there is a way for you to maybe, I don't know, I feel like if this is like an adoption thing, I wonder if there is like a program where I almost could see someone like coming in for a few hours a day to help or something like that. It's funny, I don't know for sure, but I feel like there's something going on here where they're saying like there is like possible help. It's almost like they're saying you just haven't wanted to use that or go down that route. But I think for you, you need the break because you are trying to be everything right now, and it really, really isn't keeping you feeling great. It's causing more tension and like, I don't want to say resentment, but a bit of resentment in the relationship. Just because it's like any parent just needs to not just talk with kids. Sometimes they need to talk to their parents or other adults. And that's almost what I see. You just need time to just breathe, be calm, not have to be the caretaker or the parent or the authoritative. Like, you just need time to be your true, beautiful, authentic self and not hold this much responsibility all the time. If that makes sense. I feel like it's the amount of responsibility that you always have to be the bigger person, the one on top of their emotions. That is exhausting. So you can probably see why anyone would need a little bit of time to themselves in that situation. So I have some more cards here. So here it says, have faith, trust your faith in this situation, actions speak loudly, spend quality time together, relationship patterns. It takes strength to recognize the need for change, and I really feel like that's like something you're really, really noticing. And then the only thing that is real is love. Shift your focus back to love. This is actually a great card. So they were kind of intended as guidance cards, as also like a bit of like what's going on deeper in this situation. Just zoom in a little bit on those. Okay, so have faith, trust your faith in the situation. I really find this like awesome confirmation card, especially when you see like a little fairy girl being carried away on a bunch of butterflies. That's what they're called. Because those are all about transformation and transforming things in ways we don't always expect. And I really just feel like this is like the angelics coming through and saying like, know that things will change, that things will get better. Keep having faith that it won't always be this way. And then actions speak loudly. Express your love through actions, and this spend quality time together, listen and talk to each other. There's like this calling, and always use your intuition because it is general card reading, but I get the impression that in this pile, you spend a lot of time maybe like taking your child to sports or to places, like maybe you're helping them with schoolwork, maybe you're it feels like there's a lot of like stuff that you do more as like responsibilities and like things to get them to and help them get finished. But they're almost saying like it might be nice for the both of you to just do some things just for joy, where the outcome doesn't matter, where if someone wins or doesn't win doesn't matter. And I think that's actually kind of important, because I'm not sure, maybe you struggle with somebody here, there might be a bit of like an anger issue that the child struggles with, so they can get maybe too competitive in sports or too competitive in games. And I actually just see there's something here about just like if you could just spend like easy time together where there's no pressure to accomplish something or do a specific goal. It's literally just to really hear what's going on in each other's lives and just chat and quality time, like quality time. That is such a big love language for a lot of people. And I actually could almost see you like maybe you walk a dog together, or yeah, go to a dog park. I don't know, I keep getting dog. Maybe they have a dog, maybe you have a dog, maybe your neighbor has a dog that you can walk and your child loves that dog or something like that. There just seems to be like, it's interesting. It's almost saying like this will help you two meet in the middle in some way. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. And also, if you do have a partner, like I don't know, a husband or a wife or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something, there's even like a call. Like this is kind of a double meeting card here, where I get like you need to like just go on a date with them and like just really reestablish like connection there, and that will even help you feel more supported. But I'm getting a strong energy that a lot of people inquiring about this are on their own. They are like a single parent or something like that. Feels very isolated. So it's like maybe you aren't, but it just really feels like you are just because of how you're feeling. Yeah, so it says listen and talk to each other. That's like a really big thing. Really establishing just like a, it's funny because I almost get like when this kid here is like, oh, how's school going? They're like, fine, like how was school ever going? Who actually likes school? Like it's almost stuff like that where it's like if someone's like, how was work? And you're like, work was the same as it always is. It's like was boring. They're kind of feeling a bit like that. And to go deeper and like actually establish a little bit more of a bond with them. It is an interesting relationship here because I feel like there's separation in this relationship, so it does feel like, yeah, like this child was orphaned, or maybe their parents died in a car accident, and you're like the aunt taking care of them, or the uncle taking care of them, or the grandparent taking care of them. There's definitely like an interesting backstory going on here, but it's like I can see the energy though. I can see the wounding of the child, and I can see your heart trying so hard to undo the pain, but it's like every time I look into it, there's like a bunch of different reasons on what exactly or why exactly this child is in that place. Okay, so this says relationship patterns. It takes strength to recognize the need for change. So this is the thing where I'm saying I really feel like you have felt that, especially being like not wanting to be in this such firm kind of defensive, strict role, and wanting to be the more natural, nurturing, loving person that you are, but having a bit of difficulty with knowing how to set boundaries. And also there is a message here actually in this card about being a little bit triggered by the child and your inner child wounding. So that's interesting. So it definitely makes me think once again about like, I think this pile also had a pretty hard childhood at some point that it keeps kind of slipping in a little bit. And that this kid can trigger it a little bit. This child can trigger it a little bit within you. Their wounding kind of mirrors like a wounding that you had in some way. So I can just see that you can feel like this is exhausting on both parts, on this child's part and on your part. And you're just kind of like, I'm ready to try something different and to not keep going through this cycle because it's exhausting and it sucks. I think, for lack of better words. So then this one says the only thing that is real is love. Shift your focus back to love. And this is so beautiful because this kind of talks about that grounding element again too, right? Like, this is where I see like there's like a grown-up person's hand and then a little kid's hand hanging on to the parents, or grandparents, that kind of looks like in this picture. And family tree. And so beautiful, actually. This is actually a very beautiful card. It just, I don't know, this brings me so much hope for this pile when I see this one, because to me it's like just talking about how love and continuous love will heal this child in the long run. And that support, that stable routine support of you always being there, you always loving them, you never throwing them out or doing all that stuff, just being consistent. Eventually this fear within this child is gonna get easier and or better. But also I can see like you having some time to yourself, being more grounded and centered in yourself is going to really help you hold that nurturing element that is your true self. And I do just want to really bring out too, like, I do feel like there is someone, like, this is the energy I keep getting, is that there is someone you can reach out to for support, and literally to have like physically come in and help during the day. And I don't want you to feel like that's defeat. I feel like you need that so that you can really still stay this authentic, beautiful, nurturing you that you want to be for this child. And once again, if you just communicate, there can be pushback from this child, but I do get overall that I think they didn't have communication in most of their younger years about like why something was leaving or about why something was happening. And that was kind of the worst part. And I don't know if they even realize that now. It's like they just never knew why or what was happening. So it's like stories kept getting made up in their own head about it. Like they might think they're not good enough, they're not lovable. I think that would be like their fundamental beliefs. But I think slowly over time, you're going to help them change that belief system within themselves, which is a very beautiful thing. Really have to say, you did not take on an easy task and you are just doing great. Do not beat yourself up on it. I can see, I can feel, I feel things when I do these card readings. I can feel this challenge of this and the emotional challenge of this, because they really do they know so well how to like push people away, and they're doing it by kind of like triggering you. So like I said, this is not going to be them forever. This is like a defense mechanism that they have built in from their past, and their past does have like a huge wounding and trauma in it. So I know you know all this. I'm pretty sure you do know all this. But I do just see like, have faith, set limits, ground yourself, get fresh air, be able to just feel like you and not put too much pressure on yourself, because this is one of those things where I keep seeing like this card. I feel like it takes a community to raise a child. That's what I keep hearing. It's never just one person. So don't feel like it's just you. If there is like, say, another uncle or aunt or something that can come and watch this child for an hour or two, like that's huge. Or a friend, or I don't know, or maybe they just go to counseling or something for a couple of hours and you can have a little break, something like that. So I don't know, hopefully this helped in some way. I hope it helps. I wasn't expecting this in the card reading, but yeah, I guess just like I was saying, I really hoped it helped in some way bring some more peace to you. So just best of luck. Breathing can be super huge. Box breathing, getting grounded, being connected in your body will really, really help. And just be patient with yourself and know that you are doing the best you can. And you are a great person. You are a great, beautiful, nurturing person. You just need a little bit of help. All right, everyone, this is just a little sound healing or sound bath at the end to help you ground in the information you just received. So if you'd like to receive this, just close your eyes and stay tuned. It's only going to be about 2 or 3 minutes. Hello, pile 2. So you chose the riddle. So let's see what's going on for you, and then we'll look at some of the other cards. We have the mirror, we have the offering, and we have the shaman. A lot of shadow work stuff coming here. As you can see, there's moons, and then the shaman, which is all about shadow work, in my opinion. But also, the other thing too is mirror, and if you've heard of this mirroring, it has so much to do with like seeing in someone else what we don't like within ourselves or that exists within ourselves. And the offering, this to me talks about like sacrifice, and the riddle is just like the conundrum, which in short, this is all making sense. That, how should I put it? I feel like this pile might be feeling a little bit tired, like burnt out in the sense of pushing yourself too hard to get rid of any and all like personal flaws in your perceived personal flaws in yourself. So this is looking like too much personal work, if you've ever heard of that, like almost being like too tough on yourself to overcome your shadow work. It would look like maybe even beating yourself up sometimes for what would be the word I'm using, for like having an old pattern come up and act through. And the conundrum here, the riddle card, which is interesting, it's almost like saying there's like a balance that's needed. If you push yourself too hard, you burn yourself out and you lose a bit of joy, and the shadow kind of becomes the everything. So it's calling on you to find a balance between being accountable, but not being so accountable that you don't let yourself make mistakes. So I'm wondering if this is coming up for a parenting card reading. Is I wonder if you're just starting to feel pretty exhausted because there's like some mirroring happening. So a lot of us, when we have children, they are gonna mirror to us traits within ourselves that we don't always love or like. So that would be a little bit triggering in the sense that what something within you is being mirrored back at you that you're not proud of. And it's not that you're not proud of your child. I hope that's not what you're mishearing me as. It's just you're not proud of that one archetype within them, that one feature within them. You don't like it because it's something you're trying to fix or get out of your own system. And then the offering, this just feels like the sacrificial lamb to me. It's like doing so much for others, doing so much to be the best person possible, but like almost needing to just be. So this is all being done with really good intentions. I want to make that so clear because I feel like if I don't say that, you're gonna just maybe beat yourself up about it. But no, it's like you're trying to be such an amazing person that you're exhausting yourself. So there's such a call to balance. So like here, this like snake is all twisted and conundrumed up, and then over here in the shaman card, it's balanced. It's going through the course as it needs to. It's not chasing its own tail is kind of how I'm seeing it. So it's like it's just taking its time, doing the best that it can in a balanced way. Interesting enough, I wonder if this pile has multiple kids. I see, there's like 3 little skulls here, and I'm like, I wonder if you have 3 kids. I don't know. That might just be a specific message, but I'm like, oh, there's 3 people in your family system. Maybe it's like including you or something. I'm not sure. So I want to just put some more cards here. Says, watch for the cosmic wink. Look at the stars. I was going to say, I feel like this pile is pretty into the energy realm, the spiritual realm. Maybe alternative health could be another way you would look at it. Yeah, and like I would say, like you are, if people, you know how people would say like you're very sensitive in the sense of like, I think you're probably very empathic. Maybe you're clairvoyant, maybe you're really connected to your intuition, and maybe you listen to it a lot. You definitely get something going on there. So sorry, it says opinions are the lowest form of knowledge. Release shame. Stop trying to fix people honor your sensitivities, look at that. Then appreciate the beauty of the moon. And I'm just going to pull these in just a few seconds because I want to talk about some of these cards before I pull more cards. So I'm going to put that here. So first thing I am drawn to is the release shame and stop trying to fix people. I actually think this is talking about yourself in the sense of, I think that's like a really good way to put it. Maybe the way you've been going about trying to conquer these shadow attributes about yourself, these little personality traits that you have or patterns that you have that you don't love or you're not super proud of. You wonder if you're going at it from the front of, I need to fix them. I need to fix myself. I need to get rid of this. I need to be fixed. And it's saying like, don't go at it with that energy because it's already stating that there's something wrong with you. And there's nothing to be ashamed of about yourself. You're a human. We are going to say some things that might make someone upset and might make someone else laugh. Like, it's just, we're all such different people and we're all so complex, and to be perfect is impossible. It's absolutely impossible. And then just what this card actually says is it's not your job to fix anyone. And then release shame. If you've been shamed for being sensitive or anything else, tell yourself, I'm ready to release this shame and I am lovable and a caring person. And then also just to go along with the release shame and sensitivity, it says, your sensitivities are a gift. Be proud of who you are. Put your hand over your heart and inwardly say, I embrace my loving heart. So there's a lot going on here about, I wonder if in the past you have been told you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, like wording like that. And it's funny because then we have over here, opinions are the lowest form of knowledge. And it's like, say, I appreciate your input, but like leave it there. And that's just like to be respectful. But yeah. Opinions aren't facts. And there's just, I wonder if there's still a lot of healing to do. And I think this is why you've been trying to dig at it or go at it so deeply around inner child wounding and just wounding around your gifts, your intuitive gifts, your clairvoyant gifts. I'm not sure. I feel like you refer to them in a different wording, but like essentially I think that's what it is. It's like being told that they were a weakness of yours, but actually they're one of your greatest strengths. And the fact that you are connected to them and you listen to your emotions and to your intuition is a gift and a strength. And unfortunately, the people, maybe it's your family members, haven't really appreciated that yet, haven't really seen the value in that yet. But I think they will with time. So there is so much though. There's so many these cards are talking about. Don't shame yourself for your vulnerabilities and your sensitivities. Do not shame yourself for them. Appreciate the beauty of the moon, which talks about appreciating your shadow side, yourself, things you don't love about yourself. There's still a beautiful part of you. So it says to calm and center yourself, or to simply appreciate awe, gaze at the moon tonight, observe the purity of her energy and sublime presence. And if you think about it, like if the moon is supposed to represent our shadow self and the feminine within us, like the moon is quite beautiful. It is, I think so at least. And you can look at it. Isn't that the crazy thing? You can't look at the sun, but you can look at the moon. So it's kind of backwards, hey, because we talk about how it's hard to look at our shadow side. It's easy to look at the light. But maybe we have an easier time looking at our things we're not proud of in ourselves than we are at looking at our gifts and what we like about ourselves. And I almost wonder if that's something you need to just try and do, is just even like say, like, it's funny, if I feel like if I did like a self-care pull card deck here, like I wonder if one of the things that come out would be like, write 5 things a day that you love about yourself or that you're proud of yourself for. I think you would have something like that, because I think everything you're doing right now is so well intentioned, but it's all going out of the perspective or the context that there's something wrong with you, that you're not good enough as you are and you need fixing. I kind of said that before, but that seems like I'm really trying to get it clear that that's the problem, is the perspective shift, is that you need fixing. There's something wrong with you. Instead of just being like, I'm human, sometimes I make mistakes, but I'm trying to be the best that I can, and I'm proud of how far I've come. If that makes sense. Changing it to I'm proud of myself versus I need to just change things still. So here you have 2 star things. So this feels very star seedy. It says, magic comes when spirit winks at us. Stay aware of synchronicities that provide unexpected answers. Positive forces are always at play in your life. Interesting. And I can't help but notice like the spiraling of energy. So I wonder if it's even saying like, if you've been working on some sort of manifestation work, calling in higher things, I think it's really trying to say like, watch out for synchronicities because it's going to confirm that those things are coming in, or that what you're asking for is being answered. And the one thing I always want to mention here, so if you're saying you're never doing things good enough, then you will get confirmations of that. But if you're saying I'm doing better and better every day and I'm so grateful for who I am, then you'll get confirmations of that. Like people will even say, it's weird to say that, but people even notice that more in you. And it's almost like somehow in our connectedness, people can sense that. They sense our weaknesses whether we know it or not. It's weird how that works. So if you're thinking of yourself as a beautiful piece of art and you're adding to it versus you're something that needs to become art, and then people will treat you very differently. So this one said, look at the stars. Look up and remember that you are but a tiny speck in a large, mysterious universe. Let the magic of the stars connect you to your own special magic. And that's such a big thing. This is really, really saying like, just see that you are supposed to be unique and different. Everyone's supposed to be their own beautiful, unique people. And don't waste your time trying to fit in or fit into these people's opinions of what you should be or look like or do or say or feel or like or know, because that's just a waste of your time and it's a waste of your life. And like I said, I can't help but wonder if the people you're trying to prove you're normal to or good enough to are these people who aren't even connected to their own hearts, aren't even connected, who aren't even like, should I say, like, I'm seeing them as like they're not even self-aware at this point in their life. So it's like a funny thing to try to get their approval, get their badge of normal when they don't even know who they are. And you're learning who you are, and you're learning how to listen to your heart and to follow it and be proud of who you are. So that seems like a much more fulfilling path, if you ask me. And they're still not able to see their shadow, is how I'm seeing it. So this was sort of cards I asked for, kind of like what's going on deeper and what do you need, was kind of what I was asking for this. So it says physical touch and tender touch can mean so much. That was pretty self-explanatory. To me, it's just confirming, like if you don't already know, your love languages. Physical touch seems to be one. And I think this pile is married. I think you're married to someone who maybe isn't as far along on the self-growth or self-awareness path as you are. I don't know. I feel like there can be a little bit of friction sometimes in this relationship because of different belief systems. Maybe you're into the alternative health and they're not. Maybe you're into the spiritual realm and they are not. There's some kind of slight friction or disconnect. And here's just saying, it's actually, I think there's a lot of going on between this relationship, this partnership. It's saying physical touch, express the love through gifts. This is interesting because this is supposed to be about your child. It's funny that I feel like for you, I feel like you feel a little bit like an outsider to your family. So maybe your kid is usually taking the opinions or the side of your partner or something like that. I'm not super sure, but I see something going on there where they're almost like, well, if like your husband or wife are saying that you're like the odd one or a little bit not normal, you almost feel like the kid is taking on some of those opinions and kind of like wanting to be normal because of the age they are. They want to be normal too, like you wanted to be normal. And I feel like that can be a thing. So maybe it's even like physical touch is with your kids, maybe like cuddling still. I feel like some of your kids are still just young enough to maybe go for that. Express love through gifts. A small token of love can convey great appreciation. This doesn't mean toys necessarily, but I actually think this is so funny. I feel like maybe you have a son or a daughter and they play a sport and they've been like wanting like this is totally random, but say they've been wanting like a new baseball or a new soccer ball or something like that. Maybe there's like really flat or it got really beat up or a dog chewed on it or something. It's like a small gift and it's kind of like something they could really use and maybe something they're a bit bummed about. I'm like seeing like giving them something like that that's like thoughtful and like considerate because you can see that they wish that it wasn't broken, but they're a kid and maybe they don't have a lot of money, so they can't go buy a new tennis ball or something. This is a super random thing, but I feel like it's a small thing like that, like something that they got, like that they use a decent amount that maybe broke, and they would really like, to them it's gold, but to everyone else it's actually not that costly, is how I'm seeing it. But it'll be like, it's so funny. It's like one of those super meaningful, sentimental gifts. So maybe you can think of something. Maybe that I feel like maybe that already even clicks somewhere in your mind. And it says, consider your foundation. Look at how committed you are to love. And this is beautiful. This is really showing me like to wanting to have a loving home, a supportive home. It's funny, I want to say nurturing home, like a home where it's very expansive. And I do see, like, I think you do want to be able to tell your kids about the spiritual realm, and kind of the magic of life and like other things like that. And I don't know, it's so interesting. I almost am getting like, go ahead. Like, if that's what you want, like really figure out what you want your home to symbolize and hold for your kids and your family. And create that. And maybe this is something you've been struggling with, because I see a lot of like partnership, but then also, yeah, also wanting to grow. But I don't know if this is helping you, because I feel like you already know this. And I feel like there's like an openness that you're really wanting, an openness to be honest with who you are and have it be accepted in your immediate family here. So with your husband or wife and kids. So here it says, rest and relaxation is essential. We all have a fundamental need to take a break. Whew. Yeah, I actually think this is even saying like, I think you're tired because you're always like kind of pushing yourself pretty hard. I think you have the highest expectations for yourself from just what I can see. And I actually just see like very genuinely, you just need to put the work down, stop pushing yourself so hard, and just catch up on sleep, because it's exhausting to do emotional work. And I'm sure you figured this out at this point, where you're just like, it is so much more tiring to always be accountable, to always be watching your thoughts, your actions, your words, and everything. And I feel like this is just needs to be you, just this deep sleep without any worries. Like, this person to me looks so asleep. They're not even dreaming about anything. They're just out. That's how exhausted they are from how hard they've been pushing themselves. And it says, love who you are. Big theme, right? Big theme about releasing shame, release the need to hide who you are, release the need to not honor you, like your truth, authentic self. You are divine, delightful, and deserving of the wonderful things that life has to offer. Oh, I just love the wording of that. You are divine, delightful, and deserving. I feel like that should be an affirmation for this pile, just to say that nightly. And I don't know. There's funny, I've never noticed in this card, there's like a little kid over here in a little shell. And then there's like a guy here, I think, looking at the woman, looking at the baby. Could be pretty symbolic of this pile. If one thing you've noticed too is this person is just so unguarded, and they're so like, the heart is the highest thing, and they're just so open to the experiences that are coming their way. And I don't know, it just seems more magical that way, right? Like, there's no shame, there's no hiding, there's just truly being. And even the kid being able to see this is like a really good role model, because the best way to get rid of a kid's shame of being their true authentic self without judgment is for their parent to be an example of that, to say like, oh, well, they can think that, but you know what? like judgment. Like they can have their judgments, then maybe they're not my people, or you know what I mean? Like I hope that makes sense. Like if you can show that you shouldn't limit yourself based off of the opinions of other people, which is a big lesson I can see that you're learning. You think that's really going to help your kids really, really be a learning lesson for your kids. Okay, I think that's all I have for you. So just to kind of sum it up, I see that you're being very tired. You're very, very tired because of just all the accountability, the inner growth, the everything you're trying to do, and you could really use some sleep. And I feel like you could really use what's the word I was going to use? I feel like you need to really reflect on what you want your home to be, what you want your house to have in it, what do you want your house to look like for your family, and maybe even discuss with your partner what you would like, and just creating that space. Because to me, I just feel like that is like something that's exhausting on you, because I wonder if you're kind of like trying to hide it, but you're also kind of doing it, and it just feels tiring. And then also that last big thing is not being ashamed of who you are and releasing your fear of judgment, which is of course always easier to do than said. But it's like we say, like, especially when you're an adult, like if someone is judgy, usually you can cut them out of your life. When you're a kid, you can't usually, because you got to go to school, and that's where a lot of judgy people are at this point in time, this point in history. So as an adult, we're so much more empowered than we realize, but I think it's our wounding from a child that we couldn't get out of those environments that kind of hurt us. So yeah, I think that's a really big lesson. And as it says, opinions are the lowest form of knowledge. So people's judgments are literally the lowest form of information. It's not even true. It's just their perspective or something being mirrored in them or something like that. So anyways, I hope this helped. I hope this brought a little bit of ideas about maybe some things you can do. Best of luck. I hope at the very least you felt a little bit seen. All right, everyone, this is just a little sound healing or sound bath at the end to help ground you, help you ground in the information you just received. So if you'd like to receive this, just close your eyes and stay tuned. It's only going to be about 2 or 3 minutes. Hello, pile 3. You chose the Judge. So we have that one. We have the Shadow. We have, oops, it's upside down, Apocalypse. We have the River. And we have the Empty Room. A lot of black and white cards for this pile. I almost want to leave it like that. And then the River. Interesting. I'm just going to take a second to tune in here. Okay, pile 3. So I'll kind of explain what I'm getting here. So when I see the Judge card, I see this as kind of the role you've been having to be in. But when I also see the Shadow, it's telling me that you've been feeling like, how would I put it? Like, it's almost like I feel like you're feeling like you're just kind of constantly in the disciplinary role. Like, it's almost interesting. It's like, I wonder if you just have a child who maybe it's the age they're at, they're a little rebellious, or they don't understand consequences very well, or they're just very stubborn and they kind of like believe what they're going to believe and they kind of have to learn things the hard way. But I feel like you're just constantly stuck in the shadow of the Judge, where you're kind of sick of having to be like, well, obviously, if you do this, there's this outcome or this consequence. It feels like an exhausting energy of always having to kind of be, what's the word? Patronizing your kid. Is that the right word? But it's like, that's not really what you want to be like. That's not really who you want to be. So it is really interesting. So when I see the Shadow, I'm really seeing that you're kind of stuck in this sort of frustrating role with being like always on top of your kid and being like, well, why would you do that? Like, oh, it feels exhausting and frustrating, and like it makes you feel like you're stuck in like, yeah, like kind of like being the I keep wanting to say disciplinary, the disciplinary role, and not like the sometimes the more like fun role, the more nurturing role, or the more like easygoing role. Like, it just feels like you're stuck having to constantly be like disciplining, being clear. Like, yeah, oh, it does feel annoying. And then when I see the Empty Room, it's interesting. Right next to the apocalypse, this is like some hidden truth coming through, some realization. And I wonder if this is like kind of something coming into perspective. Maybe your kid shared a secret about something or shared some kind of insight with you. I'm having a hard time knowing if this is something you observed and finally like blew your mind. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to just like step back and wait for them to make these mistakes and figure it on their own, because no matter how hard I try, they do it anyways. And it's exhausting, and I don't need to be in this exhausted role when they're not going to listen. And then I'm just like putting on extra pressure on myself, because there's a little bit of that energy with the Empty Room, because it talks about being okay with non-action and just observing and letting things play out. So there could be that situation. And also, like with the River card, makes me think like understanding that you're just gonna go with the flow and having to kind of let them figure things out for themselves. Not like if they were to ask for help to give it, but I think the issue you're running into is it feels very rebellious age, very stubborn age. So it's almost like it was making you so stressed out, making you worry about it, making you go into this role that you really weren't liking being in, and kind of creating tension in that relationship. All for kind of like nothing. But then the other thing I wonder too, I also wonder if for some of you, like maybe your child like revealed some hidden shame or wounding they had, and it's kind of clarified some things for you, and you're now in a place where you're asking them what they need from you. What's like, it feels like you're still in that waiting period of waiting to see what they need, what they decide in some sort of, it feels like you have a teenage kid. But I guess kids grow up so fast these days. Like maybe your kid's only like 11 and they already have problems that teenagers have, because that's just how the world works now for some reason. But yeah, I feel like there's either one of those things going. And in that case, the River card is talking about either way, just learning to move with the flow of life instead of trying to force life. So, whew, I feel so bad for all these piles. I feel like I can just see the exhaustion, the frustration, and in all the piles, the parent is being put in a position that isn't true to who they are. Like, it's almost making them be like this. And I know parents aren't just supposed to be fun and easy, but like you're also not supposed to be always forced to be kind of like a miserable, uptight person. And I think that's how you're seeing yourself. You're feeling like you're like not being true to who you are. You're just, it's driving you crazy. And I can so see why, because I can see how you're like, this is too much. Like, at some point, shouldn't a kid learn or something like that? But they're very stubborn, or they're just very in a rebellious stage. So these are cards that are around guidance for you. So it says focus on gratitude. Don't wait for a crisis to happen to be grateful for your life. Today, focus on what you have to be thankful for. Stop sensory overload. This actually makes sense because I feel like I can see like you can get very anxious or stressed. I think stress might be a better word, about your kids' decisions, because you're just like, I feel like I can just see you're like, just why? It just doesn't even make sense, some of the choices they're making. And it's just baffling that they thought that that would work and that would be okay and there wouldn't be like a consequence for them or something. Like, it's just, yeah, I feel like it's stress. So when I see this, I see it saying, take some breaths, calm down, ground yourself, take a break from the situation, take a break from the world. And yeah, it's just gotta deal with that emotion as it comes up, because otherwise I feel like if you swallow it, then you keep getting stressed more and more and more about it. Yeah, okay, so it says restore yourself with alone time. So you have two cards saying alone time. Quiet your mind. So I wonder if you normally had, maybe, I don't know if you had or you've considered having a meditational practice. I think that would be great, like kind of a check-in time for you, just to really get yourself centered and get your thoughts aligned about what you want to prioritize today, what you know you can and can't control, and just, oh, I just feel like that will help. So it says here, if too much is coming at you too fast, decrease your stimulation level, take a break from people, dim the lights, and savor quietude. So that can include your children. Then here it says, take a break from the busy world, replenish yourself in the stillness, meditate, stretch, nap, garden, do whatever quiet activities your spirit yearns for. So that's really like self-care stuff that makes you feel good, not stressed out, and just sort of feeds your soul. So if you love tending to houseplants or a garden, that is great. It's very grounding. It feels good. You breathe, it's your thing. If you do yoga, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like making like jewelry or something, or maybe like fishing, whatever it is, nurture yourself. Take time to do that. Prioritize it. I mean, it seems like your kid has decided they're going to learn things the hard way anyway, so why fight that? Go with the flow. It says, quiet your mind. Overthinking a problem is not the key to any door. Take a few breaths to still your inner chatter. Let yourself just be for a while. So this is another thing about, I really see the stress thing in your mind going crazy and going down all these like loops and things like that about your kids and maybe what they are and aren't going to do, and silly things like that, and worst case scenarios. So really calling on you to do some more grounding, inner things that bring you peace, inner peace, makes you feel good. Self-care to the extreme right now. I think you need it because you really haven't felt like yourself, so you almost need to remind yourself who you are. What do you like to do? And then same thing, same kind of pattern coming through here. It says tame negative thinking. When negative thoughts arise, experience the feeling behind them and then shift to a larger, more compassionate perspective. So it's saying, don't just swallow down that emotion. Don't just say, hey, I'm not going to let myself think that. Feel it out a little bit. Kind of do your own parenting for yourself. Like, this would really be where I'd be like, okay, why am I worried about blank, whatever the situation is? Sorry, little interruption. So yeah, it's really talking about going within and parenting that self that's like worried, and just really talking about it like, well, why are you worried? And then let it give it its reason. And then just kind of work through that. I hope that makes sense. I wonder if I'm saying that and you're like, I've tried, but just keep kind of having that, like that part of you that's worried, speak, and then the bigger part of you parenting that, like what can you do about that? Or do you see how is that serving you? Like, how does being worried or stressed about this serve you? And if it's like, well, it makes me feel in control. Well, it's like, well, but at the end of the day, is it making you any more in control of the situation? Kind of, I don't know. I feel like you know what I'm talking about. You're a parent, you've probably done this before, but it's just, sometimes we just need a reminder to go through this ourselves and to hold space for ourselves. And then that way we can kind of release it instead of stuffing it down and building it up. Because I almost feel like that might be a little bit of what's happened here is like your kid has done something frustrating. This feels like the face you make, like, oh my God, why did you do that? And then you're almost like, okay, I don't want to lose my frustration on you. So you're like, all right, I'm going to hold it back a little bit. And then if you like that same situation has happened like so many times, maybe hundreds of times, maybe it's 5 times. I feel like it's way more than that though. So then it's like kind of just need to get some of that emotion out of you, through you and out of you. Yeah. Okay, so this year also let go of being the martyr. It says find a balance between giving and receiving. It is not healthy to give so much that you feel ill or exhausted. This is really important because we don't consciously choose to be a martyr, but when we aren't receiving, we're just giving and we're like trying to do so much for everybody else and we're not doing anything for ourselves, it puts us in like a martyr energy. So I want to be very clear. It's not something we consciously decide to do. Just if we're not receiving or giving to ourselves, then we kind of accidentally get pushed into that role. So it's kind of reminding you that you have to take time to do things for yourself, to, if it is, receive others, or take time to see friends and stuff, because otherwise you feel like this exhausted and gross state and you feel depleted and you feel unvalued. That's the biggest thing about the martyrs. They feel not valued and they've just given, but no one has realized that they have given too much because they're just like, oh, they just like helping. Oh, it's just what they're doing. It's just what they like. So they don't realize the exhaustion. And then this here says, ask a dream for guidance. I like this. It says strong Akashic record vibes. It says dreams after wisdom beyond logic. Tonight, ask a question before bed. In the morning, write down a dream and look for the answer. Interesting. I wonder if you're capable of looking to your Akashic records while you're dreaming. I just get that strong energy for this pile. And I wonder if you're asked something like, why am I struggling with this lesson in my life? Or why did I choose the children that I chose? Or why did I choose the family that I chose? And I wonder if that will just help you feel a little bit more at peace about everything. And then, yeah, it is saying the gratitude thing. And it is interesting that it's on a singing bowl. So maybe even like music to feel more grounded and more calm, or sound bowls or drumming or something of the sort. These are sort of like the love you could use right now, deeper issue cards. So it says practice compassion, see things from a fresh perspective. So this is talking about compassion towards yourself when you're getting frustrated and stressed out, and also compassion towards your kids, as hard as that can be, but it's saying you really need more compassion towards yourself. And then here it says spiritual connection. A relationship has a connection that goes beyond this lifetime. So it is interesting. I think this is specifically talking about your kids, and that if there is some frictions, I imagine there's some karmic lessons playing out in your relationship. I would so say so. And it is interesting here. I see like a man and a woman, and then I see this like little servant holding an umbrella over the man and woman, and they're walking like, to me it looks like a jaguar and some kind of like bobcat or something. So I feel like if there are some things happening, I often find that with karmic lessons with kids, it's like you can either kind of be vengeful and like pay back the karma, like because karmic cycles can go and go and go, because each one, if they're always trying to put it back in balance and no one is ever the bigger person, then there'll always be a karma to clear. And I feel like this is the challenge for you, as you're trying not to continue the karmic cycle. You're trying to break it. So you're like, I'm not going to steep to the level. And I think this is why you need more compassion with yourself. You're doing the best you can, but you need to take more time for yourself, because you're just really exhausted and you're not feeling like yourself. And if you're not ever feeling like yourself, then it's going to be really hard to think clearly and be happy and be the best you can be, because you're just going to be already pushed to your max. So here it says, demonstrate love, find out what is important to those you love and act on it. This is interesting because I actually think this is talking about you and not so much your kid or your kids. And I think it's really just calling on you to do some actions for yourself that make you feel loved, or even asking for maybe your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend to do some of these activities, because all this stuff feels like you're being the main disciplinary or the main person home, kind of dealing with your kids. And I feel like maybe you just could even use some alone time with your partner, if you have one, to feel a little more supported. Yeah. To feel like you again, actually, is kind of thing I'm getting. It's funny because I see this person as like, they're feeling good, they got their hair done, they got like some dressy flowers in it, they're feeling not so tight. That's literally the word I want to say, because when I see stress, I feel like people are like gripping and gripping and gripping in their body, and they're getting like tinier and tinier and tighter. And I see this person being like, just like breathing and letting go of all that stress and all that tension and all that feeling like you're trying to hold something together or something in. And this person's just like being them, feeling loved and undefensive and just like they're able to be themselves. Here it says, look to your inner strength. You are stronger than you realize. And it's so interesting, this little bubble. I wonder if maybe you consider energy shielding from your family, which is kind of a funny thing to say. But I mean, if they have a lot of emotions, if someone in your family has a lot of emotions going on, maybe it would even help you to be energy shielded so that you're not taking on their frustration or feeling their anger when you're trying to have a conversation with them, and then making you angry, not realizing it's part of their anger. And you can see how that cycle keeps going. Here it says true love. This love is once in a lifetime. So this is really interesting. I think this is really talking about the blessings of this lifetime. Like, we can see the hard and the heaviness and the challenges right now, but it's saying like this is like the only life that will ever be this exact way, and there are good things to it, and things I even see this, like I think I see like things will get better. Like, this is just a moment in time and you will figure it out. And sometimes we just need that remember that this will not last forever. This is just a phase. And especially with kids, like, they do grow out of it eventually. Sometimes it takes a few years, sometimes it takes a decade, and sometimes it only takes like a few months. But I just get the impression that in the long term, though, things will work out. Things will be better and there'll be more joy. And I get support in this family group. So it says, active if your partner is here. This is really interesting. Whether you have someone in your life or not, act as if they are with you, so you will always consider them. Very interesting. I'm a little stumped by this card. You know what? I kind of feel like this is going back to, once again, a little bit of like, maybe you're not even like, maybe you've actually spent so much time just focusing on your family and your kids and stuff, that I really come back to like, I look at this card and I see this person feeling like beautiful and wonderful and very much like themselves. And I wonder if you've just gotten to the point where maybe you don't even like buy clothes that you like anymore. You just buy your kids' clothes or your family members' clothes or things like that. And it's almost like, just take those little extras to just be who you are and remember who you are. And I don't know, like, I think about it when I think of people who are single, right? They put that care and love into themselves. They put so much self-care and love into themselves. And sometimes when they get partners, they get stuck in roles where they start paying more attention to their partners than to themselves. And then when you have kids, I often see parents, like, putting very little effort into their own needs and then all on their kids. And I feel like this is a little call to remember that you still have so many needs to like feel awesome. Maybe you love like purses, or maybe you love like there's something that you love. Maybe it's crystals, maybe it's card decks, whatever it is. Maybe you should go treat yourself to one or something like that. Or I don't know, I feel like it's just the way you dress too. There's something about it. It's like maybe you don't even feel like yourself in the clothes that you wear. That keeps coming up. Maybe there's like a jewelry that you really want. I'm not sure, but I feel like it's saying don't forget that your needs matter too, and this is still your life, and you still should be able to feel beautiful, feel handsome, whatever it is, and I don't know, find the joy in life, not just live to try to raise a human. I hope that makes sense. A lot of themes around self-love and self-care for this pile. That's the biggest takeaway, okay? Is making sure you're prioritizing time for yourself. There we go. All right. I hope that kind of brought some sort of clarity to you all. This is all I have for you. These are all the cards I have. I just wish you the best of luck, and I hope this phase goes quickly for you, because I could just see how frustrating it is and how you're just so longing to feel like yourself. And maybe for some of you even just need to remember who yourself even is again. So just best of luck. All right, everyone, this is just a little sound healing or sound bath at the end to help ground you, help you ground in the information you just received. So if you'd like to receive this, just close your eyes and stay tuned. It's only going to be about 2 or 3 minutes.